Hello everyone, welcome to the 100 Q&A portion of the class. We're going to start off with some Q&A where the defense will be questioning. Okay, ready? I take it from your testimony that you made no finding or determination as to the actual material, the cloth material, that may have been involved in this fire as to what that material really was? No, ma'am. Other than a cloth fabric? No, ma'am. It wasn't possible to determine that. I then assume from your answers, and correct me if I am wrong, that this cloth material, the bits that you found, could have been remnants from practically any type of material that was in the area. For instance, church trappings or banners or something of the sort like that. That possibility was only eliminated because there was nothing, as I recall, no drapes, for instance, or flags or curtains ordinarily in that area. I certainly couldn't eliminate someone having carried one over there, but there were no drapes in that area that you observed, that I saw or observed at the time of your investigation, at the time of my investigation, or upon subsequent interviews with people connected with the church. Do you know from your records or from any other source approximately what time this fire commenced? I can only tell you from the record as to what time the fire department was called. What does that say? It indicates that the Atlanta Fire Department received its alarm at 9:47 p.m. Is there anything in those records, or is there anything from your personal observation or knowledge to determine how long the fire had been in existence by the time the alarm was received? Yes, ma'am. What is that? The statement of witnesses, witness Overson, that she left the church at 8:45 p.m., which would have meant that the Atlanta Fire Department was called an hour and 2 minutes later. You are assuming that when Mrs. Overson left, the church was not on fire. According to her, ma'am, it wasn't. Am I correct that you earlier testified that according to Mrs. Overson's statement to you, when she left the church, she did not actually, at approximately 8:45, leave the physical church where the fire was itself, but it was from some other part of the building or complex? May I interject? The main assembly room of the church building, I suppose, would be a more accurate description, and that when she left at approximately 8:45, as she told you, she did not leave from the main assembly room. Is that correct? That's right, ma'am. And the fire that we are speaking of occurred in this main assembly room. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. According to Mrs. Overson's statement to you, when was the last time that she was in the main assembly room of this church? She believed that she was in the room between 8 p.m. and 8:15 p.m. in the main assembly area when she turned the lights on, made an inspection, and turned the lights off. Did your investigation or report reveal the presence of any other known persons in the main assembly room from approximately 8:15 p.m. to, let us say, 9:47 p.m.? No, ma'am, not that I could establish. When you arrived at the scene on the evening of this fire, several units, fire suppression units of the Atlanta Fire Department, were already on the scene. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Do you know how they gained entrance to the main assembly room? As I recall, they forced the main front doors of the church itself. This would be directly below the balcony at the front of the church. Typical church front doors. The main entrance front doors? Yes, ma'am. They forced these doors open. Is that your recollection? As I recall, this is the way it was done. I take it from the way you answered that last question that you do have some recollection of this incident. Yes, ma'am. You do have some independent recollection of the whole affair? Oh, yes. It comes back to me as we go along. So some of your answers are based on your own independent recollection, and some are based on the written documents that you brought with you today? Yes, certainly. Good. Now, based on either your written records or your own personal recollection, I will tell you if it is one or the other. These main doors you just spoke of, do they open out or do they open in? I don't recall, but I can say that I believe the Georgia Fire Code requires they open out. So I'm certain they do open out. Okay, I'm going to switch transcripts. And this is going to be plaintiff questioning. Do you remember the question? Yes, I located 3 weapons in the living room. What were those, and where were they located? The first weapon I found was a 12-gauge sawed-off double-barreled shotgun. Was it loaded? Yes. And by sawed off, what do you mean? The barrel as well as the handle had been cut down to make the gun smaller. Why would someone do that? Well, for one, it makes the gun easier to conceal. It also makes the gun much more effective at short range. I see. Is that legal? No, it is illegal to modify a gun in any way. And double-barreled just means 2 barrels side by side. It can mean either side by side or in the under-over configuration. Under-over? That just means the barrels are on top of one another. Okay, was this particular gun? It was side by side. Okay, the next weapon I found. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Where did you find the shotgun? It was on an end table next to the couch. Okay, go on. The next weapon I found was a .50 caliber handgun. I believe it was a Desert Eagle. It was underneath a magazine on the coffee table. Was it loaded? Yes. All right. The last weapon I found was a Glock 9mm. Was it loaded? Yes. Where was it? It was under the right cushion of the couch. Is that everything that was found in the living room? Yes. All right. That concludes our 100 Q&A practice. Have a great day.